Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. Oh, Wednesday, my bad joke day. Jewish families sometimes can have such a high level of achievement that, in order to impress them, you got to go deep. Did you hear about the one guy who was finally elected president of the United States, Jewish guy? Fantastic. Calls up his mother, says, listen, you got to come to the inauguration. She says, how am I going to get to the inauguration? He says, don't worry, Air Force One will pick you up and fly you in. Well, I don't have anything to wear. Don't worry. There's a designer, works in the White House, haberdashes everybody. You'll get a fantastic dress. He says, well, I eat kosher food. He says, don't worry about it. The chef in the White House can make you anything you want. All right, I'll come. So she's sitting there on the dais next to him on the day of the inauguration. His son puts the hand to the Bible, raises his hand. He's about to be sworn in. She's sitting next to the chief of staff and the vice president. She elbows him and says, huh? See that guy with the hand on the Bible? His brother's a doctor. Okay. So, journaling. Still doing my last question on aging process and what that means for you. What vows are you realistically willing to commit yourself to in this next few years? Especially for those of us who are older. Realistically, what are you willing to commit yourself, your oath, relative to your health, your work, your relationships, and your spiritual practices? As you get older, and probably more of your life behind you than ahead of you, you got to reduce possibilities to probabilities. You could do anything, but you can't do everything. So I've got to choose. Let me hear what you're thinking. I'll be glad to share my views with you as well. All right. I've been talking about energy and exhaustion in this realm of overwhelm that we're all facing. How do you keep going for the long haul and not get exhausted, not burn yourself out? So there's another word called indolent. It's like showing a disposition to avoid extreme exertion of any kind. You don't want to put yourself out there for anything. So there's a part of you that ends up being like feeble and half-hearted, sluggish, and then you kind of lack in a certain kind of brightness and vividness. Right? Each one of us has to find what is that way where we're lit up and we're willing to bring our shine, bring our twinkle into the world and help evoke that from other people. So that's what I call learning to live in prime time rather than watching TV in prime time. And of course, you go out there in order to reestablish trust between anyone who has had experiences where trust has been broken, they've been betrayed, they've been hurt, they've been let down. Well, our job is to create the safe space and reconnect them to the fact that there are trusting people in your life who you trust, people who trust you. And that's the way you start to achieve good feelings. You pay attention to those good feelings and you embody them. And then like a lit candle lights an unlit candle, you turn other people onto it. All right, now when we go to the more, I would say, cosmic understanding of what I believe is that the soul, whatever that life force is that you realize has been revivified when you wake up alive another day, something in you is cognizant that you're alive and you're conscious. That's the natural carrier of your unique life. Its origin is universal, but it's differentiated from the collective by your own specific subjectivity, your spin on it. The ultimate self with a capital S is the a priori existent out of which everything comes. It's the prefiguration, the unconscious prefiguration of your ego before your ego develops. And you could say that each soul, each person comes in with their own star, their own celestial counterpart. And to find out what that is to align yourself with the bigger dimension of your destiny, destinari, of the stars. Where are you destined to go? And of course, to do this, you have to unblock all the forces that prevent the flow coming through you. So you have to always ask yourself, is it worth the work? Yeah, well, a past wound can erupt at any time and cause a lot of turmoil. So if you don't do the personal archaeology to understand, then parts of ourselves stay angry, stay resentful, filled with desire for revenge, and people carry it on for decades and decades. How long do you want to do that? But once you understand this, you can negotiate your way out of those situations faster because you're more humble and you're more empathetic to understand other people are struggling just like you. Give them a break. So I learned from Robert Bly when I first read the story Iron John, which I suggest everybody, regardless of gender, can go to the fairy tales and see Iron Hans, where you realize there's something in the immature person, especially immature men, which it's not life-destroying, but it's not actually life-giving. Something more fierce is needed. And I don't mean fierce like in terms of physical violence. I mean in resolve to confront your own stuff. So the metaphor is you have to learn to show your sword but not use your sword. Everybody's carrying some angry energy. You don't have to let it out on other people. But every now and then you have to bear a fang, draw a boundary, let other people know this doesn't work for me. And part of it has to do with letting go of the past. In the story, when Iron John takes the young boy out into the forest away from his family, he tells him, you're never going to see your mother and father again, like a real ritual initiation. You have to break the bonds between yourself and your childhood. Not that you don't remember that, but you are no longer that, right? You have a little child, but you are not the little child. That's a really important thing to break. Even in the Jewish tradition, the past portion of the week was Lech Lecha, telling Abraham, go from your father's house to the land I will show you. You got to leave the past behind. And then if you do, as he says, anytime you need me, come here, I have more treasure than you could possibly imagine. So there's a trade-off. You let go of the old, you contact that spontaneous, wild, hairy, ancient part of yourself. And then gradually you come more and more into the realized mind is cause and effect is experience. It's one of the most important learnings that you can have in all your activities. It revolves around it because you don't realize what you're drawing to yourself. Remember the law of attraction. That which is like unto itself is drawn. So postpone other things, omit other things, but not this, that you are responsible for the thoughts you choose, sift through them, pick the good ones, even if it means leaving other things undone, rather than missing or neglecting your opportunity to prime your own pump. Everything is secondary to this. I hope you learned that. And the beauty of intelligence is everybody is smart in a different way. So I hope you find your way of utilizing that intellectual and emotional and spiritual gift that you can create more of what you want to see in the world by holding on to the positive thoughts. Have a great day.